My name is Rachel. Hi everyone.
Hello.
Welcome. I'm introducing this gig, but I am by no means running it. So I just wanted to put that out in the beginning, that we've sort of self-appointed that someone needs to just introduce.
You're so recognisable though, so if I have any issues over the next 2 weeks, is it alright if I...
Don't ask me. Shelley, see her?
Yeah.
That we are a group of people that have come together through the last build, through the first stage of this project, and through the processes and journeys that we've had on that build, we've come together for a second project, which you are all very welcome, and we're really excited and really happy that everyone's come to help us on the second project, but we're running it differently. We're going to have kind of 3 to 4 major teams, and we're sort of hoping that people will sort of commit to one of the teams for about, you know, anywhere from a day to 2 to 3 days to 4 days, depending on how you feel about that particular job. But within the team you can cycle between different jobs, but we're kind of trying to set it up a bit more structured. We're hoping to get the house to pretty much as close to livable as it can get. I mean, that's the number one ideal or objective. We've got 2 weeks, we've got a lot of hands and there's people coming, but we have a lot to do. So it's going to be fairly intense, the scheduling. We're hoping that we've got enough jobs to have people kind of continuously engaged. But we're hoping to, do a full schedule every day, pretty much from 7 in the morning through to lunch and then right through to 4 o'clock. Afternoons off, communal dinners. But we're hoping to get the major part of the project, the major part of the house, knocked out in the next 2 weeks.
From the week before everyone got here, we noticed that there had been a really heavy rainfall, and we noticed that there was a lot of moisture coming into the airship, dripping down the walls and onto the floor, and we just had a mild panic attack. And when everyone got here, we got everyone inside looking at it. We cleared everything out and had a look where that moisture was coming from, because obviously you can't go and render over the top if there's moisture in the walls. So we got everyone up, we started pouring buckets into all the possible places that water could be coming in. The concrete had all cracked along the roof, despite us spending days up there hosing it down and rubbing it into all the cracks. There were bits that were so wafer thin that you could pick them and they came off, and that was a horrible realisation. And the very front of where the roof meets the greenhouse, the roof was supposed to go up, the hemp was supposed to go up around, there was steel formwork through it, but it didn't happen, and there was just a bit of flashing and a bit of fibro there. So the water was dripping straight off the flashing. This is where we found the biggest problem, straight off the flashing, down the fibro and under the vapour barrier. So it trickled along the roof, along the hempcrete, made it all damp. All the Rio had started rusting, all the chicken wire started rusting, and then down to the back and down the tyre walls, and it was just like a little waterfall, and it was so heartbreaking.
The water actually got into the hempcrete, and the hempcrete acted like a wick. So I have no experience, as I've already said, in Earthships or rendering, so I was quite shocked when Rosa and the rendering team arrived and were inspecting the inside of the roof and discovering that it was too wet to render. We might have to come back in 3 months' time with 30 people arriving. So we instantly had to rectify that and put my firefighting skills to use, and we set 2 massive bonfires, one in each vault, for 2 days, and dried the vault out and worked together really nicely as a team to come up with the challenges on how to fix this building up and bring it back to what an Earthship should be.
So we started, our first solution was to seal all the cracks that were on the roof. So Josh did an amazing concreting job over the concreting job that had already been done. Really smoothed it out, filled in any cracks. The stormwater drain wasn't sealed properly, so we went around with silicone and sealed that all up. And then sealed around all the skylights. They hadn't been sealed, and there was water running in there that was quite obvious. Like, it was just, cracks in the cement. So sealed all around that edge. And then we started building a can wall where the formwork was, so we bashed it all out and put a nice cement strong can wall, and then the flashing up and over it.
This is a can wall that's a matrix of cans and cement that is blocking in this back part of the exposed greenhouse, which will get flashing over the top. And this top line we're laying with bottles so that from the inside it's going to be plastered up into this point, and then you'll see one line of green bottles all the way along this gap. So it looks nice from the inside, but it's plastered and waterproof from the outside.
So then once we had done all of that, we called in a professional waterproofer, and he came and he advised us on what to do. So we needed a proper sealer on the roof. He said for cost purposes you could just do it a certain amount around the skylights and around the edges, but we thought better safe than sorry, so just waited till the rest of the cement was done on the roof and then started doing it around those areas, and then it will continue to be done over the whole roof. So it's going to be sealed. But yeah, that was quite a big drama, and definitely shouldn't have happened that way. Really unfortunate.
Humility is important and responsibility is important. These are big buildings. These are structural buildings. They have to work. They have to be waterproof. It needs to be pulled off well to impress upon people who really want to have a structure like this. Research what it's going to cost and what your materials are. Understand how much labour is going to go into it. There's a lot of people doing a lot of work. A lot of it can be unskilled labour, and some of it can't be unskilled labour. So be really confident in your team. Be confident in your team leadership. Have a buffer of money. Not everything works out exactly as it been planned, because materials sometimes harder to source or more further away, or cyclones come and devastate your building. So really research it and know what you want, and pick your team and have people on call.
The crew is a huge change, because we have obviously Shelley and Bob, then we have Paul, who was here in the previous build, and he's got a lot of experience building, an electrician and all that sort of stuff, and the plumbing. And then we've got the four of us who have the Earthship experience. Rache, Rosa, Campbell and I was sort of designated as team leaders, so we had our groups that we took throughout the day to teach what we knew. Yeah, Rosa's obviously the rendering expert, and she's incredible with all of that sort of stuff, and there's been a lot of new stuff for her as well, and a lot of experimenting with new materials and clay and everything. So we have Josh here as well, who has a lot of rendering experience. And then Rache has done a lot of bottle walling. I've done a little bit in Taos, so we are doing the bottle walls together and the bottle cutting and everything. And then Campbell's running the mixing side of things, teaching people how to mix, how to use the clay, how to stomp, and they have heaps of fun dancing in the cauldron with the fire going, and yeah, it's really nice. So that's brought the teams together, and everyone works really well together.
There's kind of going to be two teams of us, and we're going to be switching in and out because we're going to get sore, and part of it is stomping the mud. So we'll go and have a look at that. That's going to be really nice. It's going to be out in the sunshine, and you get a bit dirty and stomp mud, and then bring it in a wheelbarrow, and then there'll be probably 5 of us up on the roof, so we'll see how big the team is. So this was made last night, and because there's nothing in here that can cure, there's no concrete or anything, this can stay as long as it needs, and it can just be watered down at any time. So it's probably going to be reasonably soft, but that's a bit too sticky for plastering. We're doing 1 to 2, so it's 1 part clay and 2 parts sand, plus these fibres, which is over here. We've got sugarcane fibres, which are longer pieces that kind of tie the clay in rather than just having sand as the longest fibre. It's hopefully not too much clay that's going to crack too much, because clay shrinks when it cracks. So if it's 1 to 1, if it's lots more clay, it goes on really nice, but then it cracks really quick. And it also dries slower. Clay dries slower than sand. So we did these mixes 1 to 1, 2 to 1 and 3 to 1 on the wall at the beginning, and we just put it on, see how it stuck, and then see which one cracked and see how it dried. So this is our kind of in the middle of the road mix, and first coat is really just making it stick, trying to get it on, make it stay there, and there will be a second coat and then hopefully a finished coat on top, which will hopefully be white clay. And this is how you make Grandma's chocolate cake. Should we do it again? So this is all hemp in here. This is a steel rebar cage, and then the hemp came down from the top, so you can see it sticking out. With the mud, the more you work it and the more you have it ready to go on the ground, the easier it's going to be. We are actually wetting the roof a little bit, just because the clay is going to want to suck to the dry place, and the water on the roof, even though it's not very much, it's just kind of like this. It just gives it a little something to stick to, more than just this dry hemp, because this is actually really quite difficult to get anything to stick to. By the end of next week, it would be awesome to have 2 coats of clay on and then a finished white clay thin layer at the top, and it's all been shaped down, ready to go, and all these pipes are covered and all these are off and everything.
Yep, so I've come back for just 4 days from the original 3 weeks I spent on the first build, which was great. You know, obviously I would have liked to have spent more time here. But it's just good just doing little jobs and getting them done and seeing the bottom walls come together, and yeah, it just makes you, every time, well, when I came back, it just makes you want to get your own build going.
It's good to be back. You know, obviously Earthship concept is just so necessary, so needed, and we all really, when I look at a conventional home, I just think it's just all wrong. It's just they've got it all wrong, and the only way to evolve is to start using similar concepts. It doesn't have to be all Earthships, but these concepts, you know, is how we have to evolve and grow in you know, the environment that we're put in right now.
And I'm fairly passionate about affordable housing and about providing a modality of building that supports everybody. If you want to make change, go and do it. Find a medium, find a way. So for me, the combination of food security, farming and building meets that, at the moment, meets that need. Yeah, it's a unique opportunity, not just for Shelley and Bob, but really for everybody that's here. It's not for everybody, and there's a number of people that arrived who just said, I'm so far out of my comfort zone. You know, I find this really confronting. I just want to go and book a cabin down the road, you know. But they toughed it out, and they're all the better for it.
What I really want to be involved in is the building of Earthships in areas like Haiti and Africa, Guatemala, South America, Peru, you know, South America, or Central America, Asia, where they'll do the survival models. And I think because I like the self-sufficiency part of it, but I also want to be able to do, I want to give back. I want to give back to people and be able to help them out. And I really like the idea that these guys are going in there, and we're not just building something and saying, here you go, you've got it. We're teaching these people as well, so they can do things for themselves. I find that really empowering.
Any expectations that I really had about my experience here have just been blown so far out. It's a very beautiful experience to share in building a building which represents a new way of modelling a community. And I imagine if people could have a sustainable housing model that isn't based around debt, that they could then actually delve more into what personally makes their heart sing. I grew up with my family who always encouraged me to follow what I loved to do. So I really love and I respect, and I'm really thankful for that gift that passed to me, and I pass that to my children and encourage them to follow their heart, follow their bliss, follow their love, do what makes them happy.
So what we're working on is a 2U simple survival airship model with a greenhouse on the front. At the moment you can see at the very top there's just flashing to go on the edges there for waterproofing. This roof is done here. There's panels that don't let the light in on this side and the other side, and in the middle is all clear panels. And down the front here is also clear panels, and they've been taken off just momentarily so we can render the front here. This front render is there's a concrete footing underneath and then a couple of courses of tyres. And then it has a plastic vapour barrier and netting and plaster, and the garden will actually come up over this plaster here. We'll get one more finished coat of probably an oxide, a dark brown or a terracotta oxide here on the front. So there'll be 2 doorways. Shelley and Bob have these beautiful kind of stained glass lead light doors that are coming in for the main entrance here. And yeah, let's have a walk. In this workshop we've put in this arch, which is steel rebar, and done these internal bottle walls. They're not structural, so we can just make beautiful fill, and we have really stunning patterns coming in here. When the glass is all cleaned off, you'll have these really nice stained glass patterns that will come through, and it's just going to stop there at the mezzanine. So if we come into the bathroom, toilet room, the toilet will sit directly on here. Beautiful bottle walls in the back. We've got 1 coat of plaster done on here, and we'll get 1 more coat, which will be an oxide as well. It'll either be terracotta or blue or green, depending on Bob and Shelley's final design. This stunning tree bottle wall will actually continue up the outside into the very top above the mezzanine, one big beautiful tree. And because it's an external wall, it needs to be waterproofed, so we actually have plastic coming up from the berm over the first course of paddies and more cement on top, and we're going to do a waterproof silicone on top of the grat on the outside, so that should all be sealed. So this is going to be shower and a bath. Bob is 6'3" or 4", and they would like to do a handmade bath, which will get put in this corner here. The plumbing for the shower is in here, hot and cold, which will come in from the cisterns, which is catching water from the roof. The north-facing walls, the bottom half is going to be bottles, and they have patterns on both sides. And the top half there is going to be opening operable windows, which will be vents, and they're actually going to open towards the back of the building. Apparently there's quite a few cyclones here, which the wind will be coming predominantly this way and will pull up the greenhouse, and so it's kind of much safer for the rain and for the cyclones to have these moving backwards. And once it's all sealed up and we know how the house works and we know how the cooling works and what it's like in summer, and there is possibility obviously to put small operables opening also towards the roof in the top of the greenhouse if it's really not cool enough, but we can't really know that until the house is sealed and draws properly. And Earthships also take a little while to heat its thermal mass. It normally takes, they say, up to a year for it really to perform at its optimum. Hopefully it will have a stable temperature between 17 and 21 degrees Celsius. So the main spaces in the rooms here are tyre U's that are built up 8 courses, and the rebar vault put on top. That was already done before I joined the workshop. So now the mission is to take it from tyres and steel and cement to a nice render, beautiful, livable, finished house. So on the roof inside here, because it's hemp underneath, we really wanted to have it breathable. So rather than doing cement, we're using a cob mix, which is clay and sand and straw mixed with water. You can see that one coat has already gone on, and our second coat is going on today. It's looking really nice, and once that dries, we're hoping to do a white clay, white sand final render to let more light in the back there and bounce it around. The tyres are going to be completely covered by the end of it. We've packed it out with cement, which is sawdust, sand and cement. Packed out in between those tyres, there's huge cavities there. We've thrown cans in to be a filler, and we're putting cob on top, natural clay finish, and it will get one more shaping coat and then white clay or yellow clay finish all the way around the walls. So hopefully with all of the lighter render, light will come in from the greenhouse, it'll come in from the skylight, it'll bounce around and it'll feel spacious and warm and natural finish and breathable, and we've got a week left, so we're racing for it. Bottle walls are going up, they're looking amazing, render is going on, cement, concrete, clay.
Well, mate.
I've never seen clay on hemp and I've never seen clay under a vault. So what we've been asked to do is be courageous and trust that, you know, we can get it to a finish that works.
I would just be really careful about troweling on wet surfaces.
You mean the whole thing that hasn't dried?
Well, putting this coat on a damp surface. So like, can we do that section, which we know is really dry?
Should I test to see how dry it is throughout it?
It's just you're going to end up with a problem again of these big cracks by putting wet render on a damp wall.
The dryness needs to be complete all the way through the layers, correct?
I would think so, because then that's going to help with the bonding.
Even though it has too much clay.
Well, we'll see. I mean, if you say that you can smooth it all out and fix the cracks with water, then great.
Great. Yeah, it's going to happen. Clay shrinks.
It's more, is there a broader structural issue that you want to totally stop doing this? Well, and like, what does Rosa think?
Because I'm in unknown ground, so.
Those cracks are just really big.
These are really big. I don't think it's quite dry there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to tell everyone to tear off a whole coat because there's 4 patches that should get redone. If we want to patch it, I think we should patch it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we should tear everything off and start again and freak out and contaminate everything and, you know, worry that it's all going to fall on our heads because there are a couple of patches which aren't dry and the cracks are too big and we should patch it.
Keeping in mind that we should be waiting for the surface to dry completely before application, and we can clearly see that it's not 100% dry.
It's not 100% dry, but we had a time frame of 2 weeks to try and get as much done as we can. And if you don't want, if you want a full stop, then you full stop.
I feel it's really important for not only your spiritual growth and your professional growth to have that critical review and be able to sit back and be open and honest. Fortunately for us, we had 2 archaeologists that arrived on this building site who are used to studying 10,000-year-old mud buildings in Turkey and have a high degree of understanding of soil science. And the assessment was the render was not going to stick, that it was going to fall off.
This isn't adhering to the undercoat, and because it's a vault, it's at risk of falling down. The first coat wasn't dry, completely dry, when the second render went on. We think it's got too much clay in it, it needs to be tempered down a bit.
By putting something on top of them before they've finished moving means that you're going to get differential movement between the 2 layers, which means you end up with gaps between them. And cracking and bits wanting to come off.
They suggest, and this is what many of the clay websites will say, is that this has to be scoured. And you've got like a metal rake around here. So while this layer is wet, just take your rake to it and put stripes in it, the same way Josh does with the render. So then the next layer is something to grab onto. He said just go around with a coir and tap it. If it clunks hard, it's bonded. If it's hollow, knock it down. And fill in the gaps. And that should do it.
Awesome.
And then again, if you put a tarp down, just re-wet these, and you can reuse it. You won't lose the material.
Yeah.
This will reconstitute nicely.
Nice.
It'll be a little bit of effort, but So I'll tell you the recipe, which is a really good recipe for clay plaster is 3 parts sand to 1 part clay to 1 part straw. and preferably a fresh straw, cut into as small pieces as possible. And some people will put it through a wood chipper, or they'll put their lawnmower over it or something to make it into really small pieces. And then have that soak overnight. The other ingredient is a wheat paste, and it's basically 1 cup water, 1 cup flour, mix it into a paste and pour it into a liter of boiling water. Mix it together and bring it up to just before it boils, and then let it cool. And then take that mixture and put it into your mix. So when I say 1 part, we were basing it off of a 20-liter bucket. So that should be about 80 liters of mud mixture, and then about a liter and a bit of the wheat paste. And then the wheat paste is what the renderers say is just beautiful stuff. It gives it strength, but the wheat also gives it that kind of glucose, that sticky tactileness that will help bind it and give it this nice smooth edge. And hopefully then it'll stop it.
Are you saying that horse poo would be...
Horse poo is good. When we spoke to the woman at Mud Mob, she prefers straw to dung.
Yeah, okay.
But if that's what's easier,
yeah,
then let's give it a go. But they said the fresher the better.
Okay.
Because it's the enzymes and that glucose that you want, and so as it dries out, that stuff disappears. Yeah. And so those are the ingredients that you're actually looking for.
Okay.
Cool.
So what we've done is we've put together 4 different test mixes, and considering that there's quite extensive cracking through our render, we were thinking that our clay content in our mixes was too high. So after a bit of research and talking to a lady called Kate from Mud Mob, we've changed our recipes. So we've toned the clay down, and we've added more of our sugarcane mulch mix, and so we've also used the sieved white clay instead of just using it straight with the big chunks.
So we have a couple of different recipes sitting here, just to try them out, and we'll put them on the walls tomorrow. This is a 3-part sand, 1 part clay, 1 part chaff, with a little bit of the wheat in it. That one's a slightly different mixture, 4 to 2 to 1, with a tiny bit of that. But basically, you always want to let it sit overnight, if not sit for 24 hours. But you could also let it sit for a month. So if you have a bath like these baths that's got clay and water in it, and then if we added straw, the longer it sits, the more it breaks down, the stronger it gets.
So we've got a number of different mixes on the wall now. We've been given some feedback already about what's good and what's not, and it looks like the key issue that we now have is that our sugarcane mulch is too large. The pieces are too large, and so we're getting this style of issue here where we're having large pieces of the sugarcane poking through our surface. And now the test is going to be, of course, waiting to see how they dry and how they handle the drying process, whether they crack or whether they stay nice.
What a learning curve, hey? What a learning curve. Far out. I thought I was just going to come here and build and natural plasters, but I've been confronted with a lot of different facets of my life that I had no idea about. And speaking up is definitely one of them. You know, social skills and interaction is, it's all been part of this Earthship build. Yeah, so I'd love to see, okay, righto guys, well from this build here, we've learnt that we need to actually do this, and this to make a good quality finish, good quality product. It is going to last a test of time, because that's what I want in my house. And I still have my concerns, which is why I'm quite happy to come back and take some responsibility on here. At least on the rendering half, that's where my skills are at. So I'm going to be going away for a few weeks and come back and do some more testing, and I'll retest the work that I've done too. And you know, I've seen some cracks forming up in the wall that I did yesterday. So in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to come back and I'm going to hit them with a hammer, make sure the quality is right, and you know, the finish is good. And that's how it should be done.
Good on you.
Thanks, man. Thank you, man.
But I always see Earthships as a concept as opposed to specific building. So it's a whole bunch of ideas that can be used in new buildings or retrofitting to make the way that we live more effective and better for the planet and that sort of thing. I've been saying the last few days this community building thing is so great because it's probably 10% building, and really a huge amount of it is just relationships, meeting new people, finding out what they're up to, being inspired by their projects, but also learning about yourself. The relationships you have with people, some of the difficulties that you have through a 2-week plus build, the way that things are achieved on the job site, mediation between people. It's really an interesting case study on human dynamics, and you learn a lot from that. And I think you really learn that people connecting and really looking into themselves and changing themselves and being open and honest about it all and sharing it, is an extremely beautiful and rewarding thing that I've just learnt so much from.
The more I teach about Earthships, or the more I talk it up and get questioned, which was another awesome part about this build for me, was teaching and then answering questions and having to think about why Earthships are done in certain ways. Because obviously you go to a different crowd and you have different people and they go, well, why would you do it like that? Why was the hempcrete used? Why do you use cement and not clay? Those sort of questions. And I had to think about it, and I know the answer from a Taos perspective and why they do things based on why they did them in New Mexico. But I've more and more realised how much they're a product of a particular environment in a particular era, and we have been given the tools to adapt them to this place. With Earthships, it's a big leap of faith, and especially these external bottle walls. There was a lot of doubt about whether or not they could perform on the outside, and the first bottle wall I ever did was an external bottle wall, and there was never any problem. I was never given any impression that there would be a problem to have it exposed to serious wind or to rain, and so I said that, and everyone ran with it, and it's cyclone permitting. They will function well. They will do what they need to do. They're beautiful. I mean, they're not finished, obviously. We kind of ran out of time a bit in terms of getting to the final finished product, but I think we worked really efficiently with what we had, and they look amazing. And again, I say thank you to Bob and Shelley for providing the playground to express. This is a success in my mind, but it's still quiet and it's still off the grid. So there needs to be a permitted Earthship that gets high profile, and people find out about it, and people can go and see it, and people can touch it and engage with it and ask questions about it. I guess that's what needs to happen, and hopefully this summer it will happen with either a guy in South Australia or a guy in Victoria, and that'll be hugely significant, huge. So I guess my words of encouragement is to get involved, because we don't have the answers and we're learning as we go, and there's no reason for people to feel that they don't have a place here.
There's well over 100 people that have put so much love, sweat, joy, tears, all their emotions, mostly love, into the building. It's just been such an amazing project that it's going to be so warming, and I just hope I can share it with many people. Yeah, won't be finished this week, but I can see the finish coming.
I guess what I'm lacking is a nice, the opening ceremony was really nice, it was beautiful, and so having a closing ceremony as well.
Like me, you need a bit of closure.
I do. I love the bow, wrap it up, there it is. It's been that experience. There's a lot that's come out of this, like with Jesse playing his music and Ange being offering so much attention, drawing so much attention to different things, and people, like relationships coming together and flowering and personalities really coming out. It's been really nice to have that as like the other side of all the work.
Did you feel that there was too much focus on the work and not enough on the social stuff?
No, it was really good. Good mix. I just want to say goodbye.
No, fair enough.
Well, I think that's all it is, just that sense of closure.
To that, I say thank you, Shelley and Bob, again, for giving us the opportunity to come onto this land and to learn together and to grow this movement and this community, which I think is just going to go crazy in Australia, and we're right on the edge of it. And you know, the more people that come to these projects, the more seeds that get sown, and the more communities that get built, and the more networks and the more webs, and the more, you know. And I know for myself the bonds that I've made with my Earthship groups and friends and projects that I've been on. It's like, you know, if I can, I'll drop anything to come and help you build your house, you know, because we can.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Make a home, live close to the earth. Take man's waste and give it worth. Show me. Make a home, live close to the earth. Take man's waste and give it worth. Show me. Make it simple, I will learn to bound ties and build a berm. Show me. I will learn to pound ties and build a berm. Show me. Take some bottles and some cans, turn it into something grand. Show me. Take some bottles and some cans, turn it into something grand. Show me. Hits that wall, it shows me something beautiful. Unity through diversity, we're building Earthship communities. Show me. Unity through diversity, we're building Earthship communities. Show me. Some bottles and some cans, turn it into something grand. Show me. When the light hits that wall, it shows me something beautiful.